Welcome to Scarves and Spikes.
Hello to all the Atlanta United fans. My name is Jurgen Damm, and you are watching Scarves and Spike, an Atlanta United podcast.
Yeah, it might be all that you get. Yeah, I guess this might well be it. Well, heaven knows I've tried.
What's going on, everybody? It is another episode of Scarves and Spikes. We have a numerical advantage here on the screen today. Originally, I was going to make the joke that, hey, Tommy, you look a little different, but I can't do that now because you showed up fashionably on time.
3 seconds late, or 3 seconds early. Whichever one you want to say.
Hey, you know, that's what we're here for. So we are not going to waste any time. We are immediately joined by our very, very good friend, John Nelson of Soccer Down Here, who, if you watch their show every 9 o'clock, 9:05 in the morning.
Yeah, we believe in Turner time, by the way.
Yeah.
As an homage to Turner time, we are on at 9:05 until 11 something. So we firmly believe in Turner time, and that was something that we just look. Everybody comes on at like the top of the hour, you know.
Yeah, that's okay.
They come on at the zeros, and those of us who were raised in a certain environment, you know, it's like, how are we different? Oh, Turner time, you know.
Right.
So we come on.
Thing.
Yeah, we come on at 05, and for everybody that's from outside the Southeast, they sit there and go, what are you doing? And then we explain the whole thing about Channel 17 when we were growing up before cable and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So, yes, it is 9:05 until whenever.
Yep. And
What was Channel 17?
Mm-hmm.
What was it?
WTCG, then it was WTBS, and then it was Superstation TBS, and then it turned into all those other things, and now it's somewhere on the dial. WPCH, I think, is where
that was before WCW Nitro came on there.
Correct. This was World Championship Wrestling, and seeing WCW on the NWA on at 6:05, and then you had it, I think, at like 10:05 on Saturday mornings, and all those kinds of things. I am a child of the Gordon Soley School of Anatomy and Physiology, so that's how. Look, I learned more about the human body watching Gordon Soley calling wrestling play-by-play than I did in my classes in high school and college. I know about scapular tension. I know about pressure points. I know about the Shinin no Maki, the Japanese sleeper hold. I know about all these things, but God rest Gordon Soley's soul. That's where I learned it from.
I'm the wrestling nerd in this group, so I know everything you're talking about.
See?
Hey, the old school wrestling, I've told you, I know that. It's not the old school wrestling I can't keep up with.
Look,
It's
when Mr. Wrestling number 2 went heel and he ambushed Mr. Wrestling number 1, when Mr. Wrestling number 1 went heel and ambushed Mr. Wrestling number 2 in the ring, we were all shocked. When Ted DiBiase was pile driven 5 times on the floor at the Turner Studios on Techwood Drive, when his career was off and running, I mean, that's the kind of stuff that we were getting into. Oh yeah, Jim Cornette, Dusty Rhodes. The American Dream, Dusty Rhodes. Everybody learn to get funky like a monkey, Jack, because you watch it all the like on the YouTube channels. That's where it is today, fellas. You know how it is. If you know what I'm saying. If you know what I'm saying, Tyler Pilgrim, that means he came over on the Mayflower, fella, baby. He was on that boat. And then somewhere they just decided to sit there and name him Tyler. He was a pilgrim. How are we going to be different? We're going to name him one Tyler. That's a different kind of pilgrim.
John is on one.
He wearing that hat. He ready to go with that big old hat, you know, the big old bucket hat that they wore in the old days when they was coming over on the Mayflower. And everybody was happy-go-lucky. The American dream was where it was at, baby, back in the 17th century. That's where it was. I tell you, man. What?
That was
That was something.
spot on. I used the line of Tommy, I need a cigarette after that.
You looking for them Marlboro Red, Tyler Pilgrim? That's what you
No,
want. Them
I don't
Pall
need any cancer
Mall,
sticks. I'm kidding.
them Pall Mall, maybe them Twisted Sweets, them lovely cigars, and them cigarillos that you get over at the corner market. Is that what you needing now?
So I got one for you. I
Sure.
got one for you. Do you because you would know an old wrestler that isn't around anymore. He's around, but he's not
I
doing
love
anything.
it. You would know
Sydney Radaway.
you would know an old wrestler.
Bill DeMott. Do you remember the name?
Oh, absolutely.
Bill DeMott.
Absolutely.
Also, and I know we haven't got to After
Yeah,
Dark yet, but
Hugh
he
Morris.
went by. Yeah,
Hugh-
and
yeah,
and
Hugh Morris.
Hugh G. Rection
Mhm.
was one of his alter egos at one point.
Yes, I do.
Fun fact: I used to work with him at FedEx of all places. So there's my fun wrestling.
For an individual that was north of 3 spins when he tipped the Toledos, he was a very agile individual inside the square.
Yes, he was. Yes, he was.
I don't remember WCW in the days of NWO and the battle when Sting was, Crow Sting. One of the best moves ever for a philosophy in the history of ever was Crow Sting and the NWO. I think we just passed that anniversary of when Hogan went heel at Bash at the Beach. I think we just passed that anniversary too, as a matter of fact.
Everybody left us. I think they're just turning this into a wrestling podcast, I guess.
Why not? So nothing wrong with that. This is what happens, when your cable goes out. Maybe I caused everybody's cable to die. So all right. So Tommy, you and I are going to talk about wrestling, right?
The Colonel does not like this. The Colonel is not about it.
Colonel, it's all in good fun, brother. That's just how it is. This is the Colonel knows all about the opening kickoff at SDH. So this is kind of opening kickoff material is where we are.
It got so lit. My internet just.
I was wondering.
Everybody left at the same time. I was like, okay, I guess this is just us now.
It's like I sent everybody on the show scurrying except for Tommy, who got all of it.
That was a 10 out of 10 personification. I will take that all day. So,
man,
this is starting off. We have a busy evening. Starting with you, John, obviously.
We're talking WCW Saturday night. That's what we're talking about, man.
Oh, man.
And then we're transitioning to soccer at some point.
Georgia Heavyweight Championship chasing after Harley Race. The American Dream Dusty Rhodes going to be at the Omni. Going after Abdullah the Butcher and Andre the Giant. We all going to be there. Killer Carl Cox in the TV Championship.
You would fit right in Louisiana. Like, I feel like I'm back in Louisiana again.
Well, I mean, we used to have in this market, we used to have what we called Superstars of Wrestling. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah.
But those of us of a certain vintage would watch Channel 69 in the days of cable. Nice. And from like 8 p.m. on a Saturday night until 2 or 3 in the morning, what they would do is they would have wrestling programs from all around the country. I mean, it would be NWA, it would be Mid-Atlantic, it would be Memphis Wrestling with Superstar Bill Dundee, where you'd have Lance Russell. Oh, come on, get off him, Gilbert. What are you, one of the, I swear to God, Lance Russell, Hall of Fame announcer as well. Then they go to World Class Championship Wrestling in Dallas, where you had the Von Erichs and the Freebirds, and Bill Mercer was in the middle of that. Then you do Pacific Northwest, the WWWF, when it was 4 letters long, and they would go from like Smoky Mountain Wrestling and New Japan, New Japan, everything go from like 8 till 2 in the morning. And so for someone who was a high schooler, I mean, that was how you spent your Saturday nights, was watching Superstars of Wrestling. Joe Pedicino and Bonnie Blackstone. Did you do backyard wrestling? Oh, absolutely. I DDT'd a buddy of mine in high school, and it was on the grass in the backyard. But the thing is that we knew how to take bumps. Yeah. And I DDT'd him, but of course there was that space that was there. You had that inch of space where you look like you DDT'd him and it just looks ugly, and he sold it and it was great. But no, if you knew how to take a bump and you knew how to sell it, then you were doing okay. I mean, full disclosure, I actually sold a bump at GPB when I was doing a story with a wrestler, and it was for one of the segments that was you had to win an award. You were the academic athlete of the week, and you got presented with a plaque. And so we would always try to come up with ways to present the plaque. And so I'm like, okay, he's a wrestler. All right. So then he wrestles me for it. And so we, off camera, when everything is turned, when lights aren't on, everything, we blocked it all out. And so he goes, duck under, go behind, waist lift, takedown, picks me up and slams me onto the mat. and then he walks away with the award. He's like, and he walks out the room. And my boss at the time was like, don't do that. You're not insured. And I said, I know how to fall, because what you do is when you land, you take your palms and you go out and you smash your palms on the wrestling mat, and it makes that loud noise and everything. Yeah. So I knew how to take a bump, and you knew
it's all about how you sell it.
That is
so.
So this is a soccer show, right?
Allegedly.
Well, this is what happens.
We could talk about this all night, but
stop. Hang on a minute. We're having a good time. Hold on.
Go ahead.
I need to know, did you ever use the ketchup packets? That's all I need to know.
No.
Okay.
No, I never did the ketchup packets. No. But I mean, no, we were clean fighting folks, and we never did anything like that. And we never went that far. I mean, we would do like the spit takes, where the contact, you sit there and you give the bionic elbow, and then, you do the Triple H spit take or something like that. Impact is made,
yeah,
those kind of things. But that was about it. No, we never did the ketchup packets or anything.
That's respectable. That is respectable. Okay, but yes, it is a soccer show. We'll get to the soccer.
This is what happens when the team is not doing well and you haven't watched a match since Santos Laguna.
No. That is incorrect, Tommy. This is what happens when you have opening kickoff, not brought to you by our friends at Kickoff Coffee and Kickoff Coffee.
What time is it?
Right, exactly.
So, see, like I said, I'm an opening kickoff territory here, Tommy. This is like an opening monologue for me. So. As we transition into a soccer program, what's that? What are we talking about? What?
Well,
what is soccer?
That's what we all need to learn, especially after watching the last few matches.
Oh, where's your rim shot there, son?
Right.
I had to. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
But John, you are. And we haven't even mentioned it yet. We're now almost 13 minutes into the show, and we haven't mentioned it. But if people are watching this and they don't pay attention to soccer down here, which they should,
yes,
I'm putting it out there now. You need to go watch it in the morning. But they're like, hey, where do I know this guy from? The other place, besides football related, which you can talk all about that, but the Halo board inside Mercedes-Benz Stadium,
big old 30-foot head that shows up at halftime with the Hoff.
And they may see you wandering around over in the supporters tailgate, but just kind of like, I guess from your perspective, because we try to be in tune with the fans and everything, and you're wandering around the supporters tailgate and chatting with everybody.
Mm-hmm.
What's kind of been the vibe that you've seen just really all season? It doesn't have to be recently, but just from the fans.
I mean, it's disappointment. It's frustration. I mean, I don't know what else. And, then you have in there those moments of optimism, like, Grand Theft TRA, those moments like that. But no, I think that this season, you had a season that had so much promise with individuals that said that they wanted to be here and that they were enjoying their time here. And you also were here with individuals whom you knew their time was going to be short. You didn't know how short that time was going to be. And so it was just one of these instances in one of these seasons where, okay, so let's, try to make hay while the sun shines. And then you end up with injuries, which, it seems to be a common theme over the last handful of seasons, coming at you at the worst possible moments. And then you have individuals who are sought after by other clubs, and you have the offer that you can't refuse, literally. And so what are you going to do? You're going to turn something like that down? And, for the sake of economics, the answer to that is no, because you're looking at how a franchise would be viewed in the world sphere and how you conduct your business. And so you end up with all of these frustrating things, not being clinical, not being able to finish chances, combined with injuries, and like I said, I'm weaving storylines. Don't get me wrong, but you have all of these things happening at various and sundry points. You're giving away, you're giving away points when you should be having one. You end up with none. When you should be having three, you end up with one. And it's the fans in general this season. I don't think I'm talking out of school, and I don't think I'm saying anything new that you guys haven't been talking about during the season. But no, obviously it's frustration and it's disappointment on a bunch of different levels. And so you're looking at windows, and you're hoping for some kind of impetus of change, and looking for ways to turn things around, and then it's not turned around, and then you have a coaching change that has happened here with the franchise. So I mean, it is disappointing on a bunch of different levels for a lot of folks that I run into this year.
Yeah, I think adding to that was the team playing Miranchuk, and seems like he'll be a good addition to this team.
Mhm.
And granted, we haven't seen him play for a Lady Nutty yet, but I think adding to that frustration was the fans thought that there's going to be another attacker coming in. There still might. I mean, they could still
we're
sign a
back,
free
baby.
agent. Yeah,
Because we're back, baby.
and that added to it on Garth's comments. But teams still could add through free agency, but I think there's still that pessimism. I think there's still that fan base, part of that fan base that says, what if Miranchuk doesn't work out? Where's that other missing piece that this team has needed? And I think maybe a little bit unfair because, again, he hasn't played. He hasn't, well, he's trained, once or twice with the team as of now. So I would hope that he kind of flips things upside down for this team. But, it's always going to be tough. It's one player, but hopefully he can really acclimate himself to the team quickly.
Yeah, and Sid, to your point, I know that it's a delicate balance when you're looking at bringing in players in windows when you are also chasing after a new manager, because you can't go too far down a road, because then what you're doing is you'll be looking for a manager that will be interested in the pieces that you have and comes to you and says, yes, I can make that work. Balance that out with bringing in a key future piece and have the younger pieces that you have that have been on display all season long, especially at the back, like Jay Fortune and Noah Cobb, etc. And then the flip side of that whole equation is, okay, let's go after a coach with a philosophy where we have some pieces, and then that coach gets to be a part of the creative process and say, okay, well, we need A, B, C, D, or E, and then you can take the A, B, C, D, or E and then mix that with what you have on hand and then go forward. It's like how many managers would be interested if you had the entire recipe for dinner, like if you went to whomever, I don't know who delivers piece of food these days that you can make at home or whatever. It's like
Everybody.
like Blue Apron or whatever, whoever apron, Blue Apron. So you get the Blue Apron box delivered to the house, and then you open it up in the kitchen, and everything is there for dinner. And so all it is for the people in the kitchen is to sit there and make dinner and not mess it up. Are you that kind of individual, or are you the kind of individual that likes seeing what's in the fridge, what's in the cupboard, and then making something from that, and then having what could be a fantastic meal from what you create versus what is sent to you? And so that's the balance here that you're looking at from a coaching perspective and a managerial perspective and a philosophical perspective. You can't go too far down that road and expect that your number one wish list of folks that you want to be your new manager or head coach would sit there and it's like, okay, well, yeah, I can work with that. I really would have liked A, B, or C instead of what's there. So it's a delicate balance for the front office to try to figure out how far down the road in bringing pieces do you have and how many do you want versus, okay, I can work with that. It's a real delicate thing you got to play with here.
And the fans have gone back and forth, right? Like, we want the DPs now. No, we need to wait until the manager comes in. And then, and we knew this was all going to happen, right? When you're constantly talking about $50 million over and over and over, you hear that number, 50 million. And it's not just coming from Atlanta. It's coming from all the podcasts out there, MLS saying, the most money that's ever come in one window. And now fans have expectations. And I knew that if it was only going to be one guy in this window, the fans were going to overreact. But a decent portion of them were also saying exactly what you said. Wait until the manager comes in. And it's a tricky spot that you're in because, through this entire 3 weeks or 2.5 weeks, whatever it's been since we've been off, like, despite how this team has played, I miss it. I miss being able to wake up on Saturday and go, all right, there's a game today, right? And like what you talked about, Tyler
You're
and
in
John.
an abusive relationship, my friend.
Right. But like you talk about the supporters lot and all that. And from a guy that comes in 2-3 times a year, like that's what made this whole thing special to me. This is why I got into it, because I'm there a couple times, and every time, like, I feel like I'm with family, right? I know I live so far away, but I'm talking to 10, 15 people while I'm there. And like, that's what you don't want to lose. And that's like what I'm afraid of. Like when we were there, people were upset about the ticket prices, right? And upset about, just the entire season. Like that's what you can't lose in this entire situation.
Tommy, I would venture this. I would venture this to the table. I would say that the family that you make over time is still going to be your family. And, those same individuals that you have those relationships with. I mean, we see it every morning on SDH with everyone to the level of emotion that they're at, whether it's positive or negative. That family has created itself organically, and they're still there for each other every single morning. And they share the frustrations, they share the ups, they share the downs. I would posit that the family that you create is always going to be there, no matter what the emotional state is. And it's disappointing when those individuals that you thought were a part of it decide that they don't want to be anymore for whatever reason. They're too frustrated, they leave, they exit, what have you. But like I said, I would posit that the nature of sports that we see every day, whatever our other favorite sports are, our college fellow alumnuses and alumna, we're always going to have those tailgating fans. We're always going to have those friends that we made when we were in college. We're always going to have those friends that we had in high school with all the ups and downs that were there. I would posit that they're always going to be there, no matter what is going on with whatever team you're talking about. And I would be just that much more disappointed if they did leave a situation where you thought they were going to be with you through thick and thin.
Yeah.
Nothing like bringing the whole thing down, talking about emotions and fan bases. Yeah.
I was about to say we've done wrestling, we've done some soccer, we've done philosophy.
Psych 101, I know.
Relationship
We're in it.
discussions.
We're in it now.
I feel like I should go over to my sofa and just lay down, maybe, just kick my feet up and go, well, doctor, when I was in high school, one of those.
Therapy.
Yeah,
exactly.
Therapy.
Doctor's in, brother. That's what we're here for every morning, man.
Well, I got to ask, obviously they're getting back to it here in a couple of days, and we're going to have our good friends from across the country coming on a little bit to kind of give us a little more detail. But obviously the Galaxy's not a team that Atlanta sees that often.
No.
What are you kind of expecting, as much as you can guess, knowing good and well you got a new player coming in, new playmaker, but what are you kind of expecting from the trip out west?
I think that it's going to be LA's offense against Atlanta's defense, because you have the killer P's, as Keith Costigan has coined them, Paintsel, Peck, and Pooge, and you bring in the director of dibs, Marco. Oh, jeez, you bring in. I mean, no, and it's not the fact that they brought Marco in, it's the idea of dibs and discovery rights. That's what's giving me my Scanners moment. It's what the sci-fi movie Scanners, where your head gets split in half if somebody's focused in on you that much. It's just the idea that I've got dibs. Why shouldn't Atlanta United right now just sit there and make discovery rights on Jude Bellingham? Just go ahead, go for it.
Why not?
Because that's what
Maybe
it
they
is.
have.
Well,
We'll never know.
Exactly.
And that's
Yeah, exactly.
and that's a good point, because you sit there and you don't know what the idea of discovery rights. I mean, he's Marco Royce to LA Galaxy, and Charlotte had dibs on him. Sorry, discovery rights. And then $400,000 of AM later, the Galaxy sit there and it's like, okay, we now got Marco Royce, we can sign him. And so once again, it lends itself to the issues that we're attached to in Major League Soccer, having to do with salary cap and number and amount of space and dibs and discovery rights and who you can get and who you can claim, and all these questions that we have that the only place that you can find answers for might be in some skiff next to the ACC the gift of deed or something. But it's you bring in a Marco Royce. You wonder, along the same lines of Miranchuk, how many minutes can you get from those individuals coming up this weekend? But the firepower that's there with LAG, you add the Bishop, Dejan Joveljic, you add the back line of Yoshida and Yamane, and it is formidable. But it's amazing, a lot of folks will sit there and say, yeah, and you spent how much money, Greg Vanny? Yeah, you spent a lot of money to bring in those folks. I think it was $19 million to bring in Peck and Paintsel. And so you had Ricky Puig as one of your DPs. And so you're seeing a lot of that money being spent. I'd love to know where they are against the top of the cap. Like I said, I'm just saying, but we don't have those answers. Then you bring in Marco Royce, and I'm guessing that's one of those Chiellini kind of deals, or one of those Gareth Bale kind of deals where it's 18 months. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. How'd you do? But this formidable object that is LAG going up against a backline when it is at 100% that has proven itself, plus Brad Gazan in net, that they can challenge and they're not afraid of anybody. So I think that it is that impenetrable object and the immovable force kind of thing. Who's going to take advantage of all of this? Who's going to be the one coming out of these matchups and winning the duels at the edge of the 18? Who's going to be creating turnovers and creating opportunities in the final third that much faster going up against LAG? So that's what I'm looking at. As much as there are things that drive me crazy about the financials in this league, I think it's going to come down to the home team offense against the visiting defense with everybody back. And then how many minutes can a guy like Miranchuk give you for Atlanta United on the road?
Yeah, but it seems like this team does play to the level of their competition sometimes. They
ask the folks in Fort Lauderdale about that.
Yeah,
In
and then
Columbus.
they beat the Crew at home. Yeah, so I don't know, maybe we see more of that. But I think that's another thing that's really been frustrating. This team plays well against Columbus, and then gets grouped in the League's Cup. So
understandable.
it's just
I know.
very frustrating thing.
Yeah, no, it drives folks crazy. I understand that, and like I said, I see it basically every day. I know where you're coming from.
So we've rapidly come up on time for a kind of a hot swap, and I feel like you got a little shafted here. 30 minutes, but I gotta ask,
yeah,
because you so graciously do this for me every Wednesday morning when I'm on. But what is going on over at SDH? What's everything going on? What's everybody doing?
Let's see. Soccerdownhere.net is probably the website, where all of the news is and all of the original content, all the social media platforms that we have for SDH, whether it's the YouTube channel where we post a lot of our 1v1s and a lot of our content that we have with the college game, with Soccer's in Session, the high school games, and the coverage that's there. Let's see. Instagram, the 280 character app. The show's broadcast on Twitch at 9:05. That's where our base is, and it goes out from there. Let's see. This morning on the show, we had some guy named Tyler Pilgrim, and then we had Marion Crowder come on, and Marion was a part of the USL Super League broadcast on the weekend. She's also going to be doing SEC soccer this year again, so we had her on to talk about that. Tomorrow It is the Power Hour from 10 to 11, where we have our buddy Nino Torres come on from Gold TV and Nico Moreno coming on from Seattle. And then Friday, we get you ready with the weekend whip around, patent pending, trademark coming sooner, hopefully, rather than later, where we preview the weekend. And then, the wheel's back on and we just keep going. So that's just that's where we are, 9:05 till 11 whenever, plus all the social media channels. And it's me, and it's Jason, and it's Jarrett Smith, Nick Alifi, Madison Cruz. We're all over the place.
And calling twos games on
that, and absolutely true. So Friday night on our Mixler channel, soccerdownhere.mixler.com. I do not have my lower thirds ready. Maddie and Mateen Rowd will be on the call for OCB coming to Atlanta United. We talked to Steve Cook today in our MD-2. We'll have that content and that interview up as a part of the pregame show. And so if the game is at 7, when is the game? 7:30. So pregame's at 7, kickoff at 7:33. And if you want to watch it, you can. Maybe you can sync us up with the broadcast on Apple if you're watching it, however. But yeah, so the twos content that's there, all the other live games that are there. So yeah, we're all over the place, and I don't know when we're going to rest, but it might be Christmas for a couple of days or something.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe exactly. So yeah, we'll take a day off here and there.
Yep, John.
You're full of so much energy, and it's like you get up so early and you talk so much in the morning, and you come in and you're like me on like 6 monsters. Well, you're great.
But the problem is, and Tyler knows this, Tommy. So I'm not a morning person, and
what?
so no.
Get out of here!
No,
you're on my TV every morning. I broadcast you there. You're great.
I'm already out. That's not happening. I'm already out of here. Apparently, because I'm getting kicked out for LAG guests. But
hey.
No. I mean, look, I am not a morning person by any stretch of the imagination. And so maybe that's why, it's that extra added bit of I don't take, any crap. My crapometer is very, very low in the mornings. And so when something comes across the wire that sits there and it draws my rancor and my ire, I'm going to let people know about it. And so it's fun to be able to do the morning show and find out what people are thinking and talk about the news of the day and everything that happened overseas and getting you ready for the day that's there. And today, something happened late in the afternoon that we're going to talk about in hour number 1 tomorrow, having to do with the NWSL draft and the repercussions that are attached to that. So yeah, there's a lot of news that always goes on, and it's great to be able to have a place where you can do the deep dives and have the guests and the analysts and have people, to have some good journalism and have analysts on and have folks on that are experts in their field and experts in their locations and talk about these kinds of things. So yeah, I know I'm talking entirely too long because I got a game over here that I'm about to watch in the semifinals, the first semifinal in the Leagues Cup. And that's another conversation for another day. So I'm going to hit watch and you guys can dump me out or do whatever you need. Do I need to exit? Am I leaving here? Or how are we doing this?
I can let you leave, or I can hit the little button.
Do what you like.
Regardless, we appreciate you coming on for real, John. And you're welcome back.
Yeah.
Anytime.
As always, my fellow baby, it's great to be on here with y'all because that's where it is. It's all about the scarves and them spikes. It's all about the soft, and then it's about the hard prickly thing that make you get through your day. It gives you each side of the equation, if you know what I'm saying. A plus B equals C. The scarf. You got the scarves right there. They soft. You got the B. You got them spikes. That's the thing they're gonna get after you and make all them holes. And then C, you end up with scarves and spikes. That's where y'all at, fella, baby. You better hit that dump button because I can't find a way to get out of here. Oh, there we go. Stop.
When he comes back, he's doing gold dust next. He's gonna do gold
100%.
John, I dare you to do that voice on a high school broadcast. I dare you.
That would be the shortest career that I would ever have. When you have Glenn Diamond in your ear, Hall of Famer Glenn Diamond, who was a producer for Skip and Pete and Don and everybody. No, you play it square. I'm gonna hit this remove from stage button. Y'all get to moving. I'll see y'all later.
Thanks,
see you, John. That's amazing. He does these like in the morning when I'm on the show, and I am constantly amazed at just how many different personas he can pull off. That was phenomenal.
This was a weird episode not to bring alcohol to. This is Clean Wednesday for me, and I wasn't prepared for this.
We're deep in it now, and no, John, y'all go check out Soccer Down Here in the Morning. John's great. Love all the guys and gals over at SDH. So yeah, y'all go check them out Monday through Friday. 9:05 in the morning. But
you set a pretty high bar for the News Across the Galaxy crew to.
I know, right?
Yeah.
I'm expecting
I-
Edgar and Bryant to come in here like with totally different voices.
Or
Well, Justin
yeah.
says, "What did I just witness? I still haven't figured it out.
No, that was
I'm a wrestling guy."
Yeah.
amazing. Well, without further ado, because we did say it was kind of a hot swap, we're going to bring in our good friends from News Across the Galaxy out over in California, Edgar and Bryant. I couldn't do y'all
Okay.
simultaneously, but what's going on, guys?
Hey, what is up? What's up, Brian? You want to go first?
Oh yeah, it's Brian here. It's Carbs and Spikes.
This episode, I could not have guessed any of this stuff was going to happen on this episode. So,
By the way,
First time listener or watcher is like wondering what's going on.
I love the whole wrestling aspect. I came in at the right time, just hearing some great impressions. And by the way, Shawn Michaels is my favorite wrestler, but the greatest of all time is Chris Jericho.
Ooh, okay.
hey, Chris Jericho's up there. I'm a Scott Hall guy myself. Always like Scott Hall.
Howdy Hall.
So what's up, fellas? How we doing tonight?
What's going on?
I don't know.
We're in it.
Hey, thank you guys so much for having us.
Yeah.
As you guys know me already, I'm a big fan of the show. I love Scars and Spikes. You guys see me in the chat all the time. I am the king of the Edgars. I think there was an Edgar battle one time, and I said there could only be one. I am the king of the Edgars
Yep.
because I go from coast to coast, baby.
Yeah,
Yes, you do.
and I'm Brian from News Across the Galaxy. I'm one of the co-hosts from the show, and I'm here to talk some ish. Let's do it.
That's
Let's
right.
dive in.
Before we go on, let me just set the mood because it's something I've mentioned to you guys before, but I'm gonna say it right now. One of my dreams is to catch some footy with you guys, Scarps and Spikes, and several hours later, find myself slumped in a Waffle House booth as the sun is rising, with a stack of waffles and scrambled eggs drowned in syrup in front of me, and the Scarves and Spikes guys passed out and drooling on the table, or barely awake and mumbling incoherencies. That is on my bucket list.
We
That is
can make
beautiful.
that happen.
That is beautiful.
We can make that happen.
Watching
One of y'all coming to Atlanta. Let's go.
watching
Oh, yeah, man.
Atlanta United kind of makes us mumble incoherently lately.
Hey, that's who we were for the last 10 years. Even at the beginning of the season, some of us were like, really, man? Is this what it's going to be like this season? And you could ask Brian for the longest time. It was like, all right, what do we expect? You know, a win or a loss? Oh, we're going to lose this one. We're going to lose that one. We're going to lose that one. If you would have told me that at this point in the season we were in second place behind Inter Miami in the Supporter Shield. I know the other teams have game in hand, but hey, you know what? Right at this moment, let me dream. If we were in second place in the Supporter Shield, I would have said, "Oh my God, what kind of peyote have you been smoking, man?" Because it's not what we expected.
Yeah, no, it's night and day from what it was last season. Last season, it was a total disaster, even though Greg Vanny had, quote unquote, his players. And just dealing with the old regimen, the old front office, and getting away from that, and then having this new front office come in this season and build a roster that has them competitive in the West. You know what I mean? It's been such a it's a sigh of relief, to be honest. 10 years, nothing to show for. We've had big players like Zlatan come here and just no trophies. And now with this new constructed team, I am ear to ear grinning. So I'm good with that.
So correct me if I'm wrong, but it kind of seems like, I mean, obviously the past 10 years, I know y'all has been kind of up and down for the Galaxy, but it just seems like this offseason was like just the one back in, between 2023 and 2024. It kind of feels like all the changes that were made were kind of indicative of how an MLS team can literally go from like one side of the spectrum to the other in one off season. Is that kind of how y'all feel? Because it doesn't feel like it was 10 years of like y'all just gradually improving, right? It was just like 10 years of kind of mediocre, and then all of a sudden, boom, you make the right moves and you're sitting pretty.
It was interesting because like I've been around the team since 1996. I was there for the first few games, and so I've seen the team goes from highs to lows and everything in between. But one of the things that was always consistent was that they always had some kind of plan. They always had some kind of drive to try to be the best or to try to set the standard for the rest of the league. And it felt like after they won that 2014 Cup that they kind of rested on their laurels for a bit, and the people in the front office seemed content to have built a brand and then just have it there so that they could draw people and sell kits. And it kind of I sometimes I compare it to what the Chicago Cubs had for so very long, where the Cubs, the lovable losers, right, for so long, right, they had built themselves up as a brand, and it just became a tradition. You go to the Cubs games, you watch them play, and but at some point they were going to lose, but it got it got to the point where some people were like, no, they can't lose all the time. They gotta get it together. So they hired the right people, they brought in the right players, and then they had that run and they won their championship. And I mean, maybe it was a flash in the pan, but at least, hey, they won something. With the LA Galaxy, they just needed to put the right people in there to start to pull all the right strings. As far as who the man was, it was Will Kuntz. Will Kuntz, he was with LAFC for a while. He helped build that team into what it is today. But before that, he was with the New York Yankees, and then he had expressed interest to work with the LA Galaxy. And the LA Galaxy at the time, the powers that be said, no, we don't want you. So he took his skills and down up the road and built them a championship team that now is terrorizes the LA Galaxy, unfortunately. But sorry, my son is here. But now the Galaxy they cleaned house. They got rid of Chris Klein. I'm sure you guys heard about the Klein out movement. I know it's something that a lot of MLS circles heard about it, and they cleaned him out. They got rid of Jovan Karofsky, who was a person that worked in the front office that nobody can tell you exactly what kind of a job he did. I still can't tell you myself. I don't know what his title was, but they got rid of him. And they got rid of some other people, and then brought in a new general manager in Will Kuntz. They brought in some other people, surrounded him, and slowly but surely they started getting a piece from here, a piece from there. And as you're watching it happen, people are like, huh, okay, this is good, but it's not good enough to make us good. This is fine, it's not good enough. But then people are like, saying, hey, let the man cook. The meme, right? Let him cook, let him cook. And what do we have now, Bryant?
We have a team that's at the top of the West, a team that is only second to Miami in the scoring standings, and a team that looks like they could take it all the way. One thing that I do want to add from what Edgar was saying is that the old Galaxy was always the team to bring in the big names. David Beckham, to a certain extent, Giovanni Dos Santos, the Dos Santos brothers. Then you bring in Steven Gerrard, and then you bring in Zlatan, and then that was the old formula of how the LA Galaxy used to win. And then they kept trying it, and it didn't work after 2014. Now we have something different. You could say Ricky Puig is a star, but he's not a Zlatan. He's not a David Beckham. He was, quote unquote, a reject of Barcelona. Xavi didn't want him out there, so he came to play some football here. Then you have Gabriel Beck. He's not another player that was big like that on the radar. He's not a young Marco Royce. And then you have Joseph Paintsel, same category. So this is what Will Kuntz brings into this new regime of the LA Galaxy, the new reformed LA Galaxy. And I think from here, me personally, I've always been of that nature that maybe we should stay away from that whole big name stuff and do it how we're doing it now. And it's been working for us. And I'm, once again, ear to ear, grinning.
So
Well, yeah, and you have to, when you're another LA team, right? And another one comes in and they've got expectations and then they win, right? They're successful immediately. Like that has to be like, who's the big brother here, right? And that has to put a lot of pressure on the ownership and especially the fans, because now you got like maybe your best friend or, some people that your group that all of a sudden became LAFC fans. And now they're talking trash to you nonstop, right? Because now they're winning. And that's like the worst part of it as a fan, right? Because now you got to like have, your neighbor across the hall is got LAFC stuff everywhere and you meet them in there and you're like, man, but I've been around longer. Like,
Yeah.
we should be successful here.
I will correct you on something that you just said. Big Brother is still going to be the LA Galaxy. The LA Galaxy is the most winningest club in all of MLS and have the most trophies in LA. What LAFC has done has been beautiful work, though. You just kind of how Atlanta did, the new squad and then instant success. So we can't knock them for that. But yeah, we're always going to be Big Brother. There's no question in that.
I will say one thing, and this is talking from an old head, right? Because like I said, I've been around since '96, and I saw how the team LA Galaxy struggled in a big market in LA. You have the Dodgers, right? You have the Lakers, and you have the Kings, and all the big major teams. I know you're a Ducks fan. I see you. But
Hate the Kings.
LA Galaxy was fighting to try to not only draw people to stadium, but establish a foothold in this vast sporting market here in LA. And they struggled for a long time to get any kind of respect because they're playing their games at the Rose Bowl. So it was around the same time at the beginning of the season that they were having to share the field with UCLA football. So you see grid lines and the parking wasn't the greatest. The players were at the beginning, and we interviewed some of the original guys. They were forced to play on the grass outside the stadium, and sometimes people would play there and leave broken glass. So before every practice, they would have to walk through the grass and pick up all the junk and the broken glass from the field before they could start the practice. So they went through all these growing pains. They went through all these struggles, and after they struggled to try to find land to build a stadium in the city. Eventually, they found it at the campus of California State University Dominguez Hills, which is in Carson, still LA County. And so that's where they built the stadium. And then several years later, right, from the ashes of Chivas USA, here comes LAFC, and and trust me, I'm not complaining. I'm just stating the facts.
No, not
They get
assault.
everything handed to them on a silver platter. They get a brand new stadium in a prime location with transportation that's right there. They get 50,000 owners that are all rich, and they all get to pour in whatever money they want into the club. Don Garber pretty much gives them everything that they want so that they can be successful right off the bat. And one thing I've said before, and I'll say it again, is I feel like he forced LAFC into existence at a time when LA Galaxy was still very successful. He forced NYCFC into existence. Granted that the Red Bulls weren't really doing the best with their market, but he forced both of these teams into existence. And what happened? They won back-to-back championships, right? If we go back and look at it. But he made sure that both of these clubs had what they needed so they could be successful. Granted, it took LAFC a while to finally win one, and it took a Philly team choking, hugely. But that's what Philly does, right? Philly likes to choke on stuff.
Don't even get me started on Philly.
But yeah, the thing is that we, as a Galaxy fan, it was kind of frustrating because you're like, hey, this is stuff that we always wanted to have, and we couldn't have it, and you guys are being given to you. Okay, fine. At least please don't be good. Oh, God damn it, they're good. So I made it tough.
So,
But go ahead.
No, sorry. I was gonna say you guys talked briefly about Marco Royce, and we were joking around with John early about discovery rights and all that stuff, and all these Byzantine MLS rules. But no, Marco Royce is in LA. He's made it to LA. We expect to see him, of course, on Saturday. What do you make of how he'll do in LA? I mean, he's 35, but he brings obviously championship pedigree with them from playing in Germany with Borussia Dortmund. How do you think he'll do in LA though, and in MLS as a whole?
Well, first things first, and Brian and I can both talk about him in general. But the first thing is, as of right now, he still hasn't gotten his visa. So the word is, do not expect him to start. Although they put out all these promo photos of him wearing the new retrograde kit, and he looks fantastically glorious in all his German fantasticness, wearing that nice little Adidas shirt. But we don't expect to see him. But just real quick, what do I feel he's going to bring? We were actually just speaking to Matt Pollard from Holding the Highline podcast, Colorado Rapids. Yeah, fantastic guy, great friend of the show. And we were asking him the same question, like, what do you think about Royce from an outsider's point of view? And he compared him to what LAFC got with Giroud. He's like, well, Giroud comes in, and LAFC sitting on a wealth of riches when it comes to forwards. Yeah, they have Boanga as a winger, right? But they also have Kai Kamara, who oh my God, the guy can still score goals, right? I mean, the guy, he's amazing. And now they got Giroud, so but somebody's gonna be upset, right? They're not gonna get enough minutes. I mean, so they have that issue with LA Galaxy. One of the questions is who's going to take some of the pressure off of Ricky Puig, because Ricky Puig feels like he has to do everything. And that was the biggest problem for the longest time. And so now here comes Marco Reus. And so is he going to start? Is he going to come off the bench? What's his role going to be? And it gives the Galaxy a lot of flexibility. And so maybe Puig isn't having the best time. You put Reus in, right? Or maybe, Puig isn't feeling too good at the start of the game. You put Reus in and have him Puig come in later on. Reus, Puig. It's kind of funny there with the phonetics.
That's gonna take some getting used to.
Yeah, but the thing is that the one thing that he offers the most is flexibility, which is important because LA Galaxy does have a pretty good midfield now. You want to elaborate on that, Brent?
Yeah. Well, this is what he's going to add on to this squad. He mentioned it himself that he's not a young buck anymore. So he's going to come in and understand what his role is. Kind of a la Diego Fagundes, who's another veteran that's coming in knowing what his role is. In this version of another veteran coming in, he has a European experience. So what he's going to provide for this team is knowledge for the young guys. I know this team is fairly young, but when you have veterans like a Marco Reus in there, a Maya Yoshida, a Mickey Yamane, Diego Fagundes, these guys are going to mold the next generation for them to actually build a winning culture once again from here on out. On the pitch, like Edgar mentioned, he's a plug-in anywhere on the offense, and that's a plus to have, especially in the league where, well, in particular with our team, Dejan Joveljic, our forward, hasn't been healthy for a while. So we're going to need a lot of players to kind of make that rotation into the offense in and out, and he could be just a guy you can plug in instantly off the bench, could be one of the first guys off the bench. And so I'm looking forward to him teaching Ricky the importance of being the guy, I would say. Maybe when he's on the field with him, he could be his coach, letting them know when to hit players on the runs and stuff like that. And so that's what I'm expecting from Marco Reus coming in. Hopefully he's not injured because he has a kind of a record of that. But knowing that he's not going to be a starter, that gives me a little bit more hope.
Do you feel like at this point, because I want to talk about obviously the Atlanta LA game, but there's like so many overarching stories between the two right now because, we're coming out of the break. There's so much other news going on. There's so many things, so many changes, summer transfer window. But I think what you said earlier about Ricky Puig having to be like the guy, that was Atlanta experienced a lot of that with Almada before he left, right? It always felt like Thiago Almada had to be the guy doing everything. And they were never quite able to time getting him help when he was here. But it seems like with Marco, y'all have done that. Going forward from here, does it kind of feel like maybe he could be that missing piece in some of these games where you've just come up a little short? I go back to, obviously your LAFC matches, things like that, but the team's consistently playing fairly well. But do you feel like he's kind of that missing link overall?
Yeah, it's kind of interesting because I know Brian leans to being more positive than I am. Kind of like a jaded realist, I guess. So every time we would talk about predictions, this is from the start of the season, I would always say like, oh, this is going to be a loss or it's going to be a draw. I don't see LA Galaxy winning this game. And then they win, and you're like, oh, okay, that went pleasantly. That much better than I expected. And it isn't like me being superstitious, right? Because there's some people that say, oh, I predict that they're going to lose like 7 times in a row, and they won 7 times in a row. So I'm going to keep saying they're going to lose. It's just like I still remember what was going on last year, and I look at the team now, and I'm thinking to myself, are they really that much better? But then, sorry,
You good? Where they?
Probably an LAFC fan.
I have a hound dog, and oh God, the doorbell goes off and it's over. That's how I know we're live, baby.
LAFC is trying to swat you right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah, these LAFC fans are out the door, man. Look at that.
I know.
Keep your camera on.
Okay, Brian, can you finish my thought?
Yeah.
I was actually going to go somewhere else with this. There's been talks of Marco Roy's availability and other pods that do LA Galaxy stuff as well. They've mentioned that he might not be the player that you want, but if he's available, you get him. When we first were plugged into the rumors of Marco Royce, I was kind of baffled by it because the LA Galaxy, although they're really good offensively, it's on the other end of the field that we're not as sharp as we should be, especially if you want to contend and take it all the way and win a title. One of our biggest flaws have been set pieces. Is Marco Royce going to help us on defense set pieces? Probably not. And so, you're back, Edgar?
I'm back.
and so, to say if he's the missing piece, it's kind of just a luxury, to be honest. He's not, because the offense was flowing perfectly fine before he got here, and all he's gonna do is just sprinkle a little, low seasoning on top of whatever food you're already cooking.
You know what was the luxury though?
Mm.
We got to say. You know where I'm going with this. The luxury is having a man code.
Miguel Berry, baby. Miguel
I'm
Berry,
kidding.
the GOAT. The GOAT.
Because this guy,
Who's that?
right? He will miss sitters, right? He'll miss some weird sitters. There was a play earlier this season where like I almost tore my hair out. Where, hey, stop those LAFC fans. It was in Chicago. It was a game the Galaxy lost, right?
Yeah, dog. Miguel Berry sucks.
Galaxy hadn't lost to Chicago in like 14 years, right? And they were in Chicago, and everybody predicted a win, right? And so there was a play where one of the wingers, he passes the ball in to Miguel Berry, and Miguel Berry does, I don't know what the hell he was thinking. He, instead of getting in front of the defender, he got behind him, and of course the guy cleared the ball out. And I'm like, you idiot, what the hell are you doing? Just get in front of the guy, put the ball on frame. And I was just like, oh my God, I hate this guy. But then he scores like these clutch goals, and you're like, well,
I love it.
Look,
what are you doing?
Don't do it, Tyler. Don't do it.
he will always have the one goal for Atlanta United.
The one goal.
The one
And
goal.
then he did
And
the
it was-
little flip celebration.
It was a banger. And then the team went and freaking blew the lead in stoppage time right after. He couldn't even get his one day.
Right.
One day. But it was a banger of a goal, man.
No, but realistically speaking, the kind of impact that he's had is reflected by the fact that even though Joveljic has been injured for more than a month, Barry still finds it hard to find himself in the starting 11. Where LA Galaxy would rather put wingers up top instead of putting him, a dedicated striker. So, yeah, but I mean, he's put him in for like 5 minutes. He's like, he's like Vinny. He's like Vinny Johnson, right? The microwave. You put him in there, instant offense, baby.
Have you seen the Miguel Berry video I posted?
Which one was that one? The one with
The
he
Joe
scored that-
Hendry, Miguel Berry.
Oh no!
Oh, I need to look that up now.
I'll find it here.
I was in North Carolina for like the last 2-3 weeks, and I was deep in that southern weather. By the way, guys, at one point my cousin took me, my wife's cousin took me on a golfing excursion. So somewhere in the 17th hole, when it was 100 degrees outside and 100% humidity, and I'm dying, right?
Miserable.
Like I'm literally suffering from heat exhaustion. I'm sitting there, and I sit on the grass, and I'm thinking to myself, what am I doing here? And I hear the cicadas off in the distance, and I don't know why I imagined like Tyler at Atlanta United practice, watching the guys practice and hearing the cicadas off in the distance. I don't know, man. I just thought of you for
Yeah,
some
and getting
reason.
sunburned. trying to breathe. That
Yeah, the
exact
South is something else,
scenario
man.
has happened many, many times.
Yeah, I don't know. We keep going off the rails here, but I love it. I love it.
That's what we do.
Yeah.
So we've had pro wrestling talk, we've had philosophy, we had me getting swatted by LAFC fans, my dog
Miguel
going
Berry.
nuts.
Miguel
Barry,
Berry.
remember Barry, right?
So,
Man.
so you guys kind of talked about it a little bit earlier. This is a Galaxy side that, earlier in their tenure, and I know you guys are OG fans. Earlier in their tenure, I mean, they were not struggling to win trophies, but now, I mean, it's been forever since they've won one. How do you feel their chances are? Granted, they're at the top of the West. I don't know if they're going to win the Shield. I think Miami may win the Shield. I mean, that's not to say Galaxy won't make a run at it, but how do you figure they'll do not just the rest of the season, but going into the postseason? Then is this the year that they can finally add that elusive trophy to their case?
Ooh, that would be lovely to get
The
a
race
six.
to six.
Yeah, it'd be lovely, but there's the one issue that I'm still very concerned about, and that's the defense. I mentioned earlier about the set pieces in MLS play. Out of 36 goals conceded, 14 have been off of set pieces, and 5 of those were PKs. If you want to include what happened in Leagues Cup, 42 goals in all competitions, 16 of those have been off of set pieces. And so if we don't address those issues and try to work something out where at the end of the season those aren't being let in as easy, then they can compete. If they don't address that issue, I can see them in the conference final. But once it comes to that final, you got to be tight defensively. I don't see many finals where the final score is 4-3 or 5-4. It's always comes down to that one goal. And if you can't, I mean, we lost, when was it? Maybe 2 seasons ago against LAFC on a set piece, and that could have took us to the conference finals. So those are the things that they need to tighten up because I mean, there's other teams in the West that want it too. So we gotta address that.
Well, the good thing is for y'all, Atlanta is one of the worst teams on set pieces this year. It like to the point where it was really funny actually. They played Columbus and everybody's like, this game is why are we even doing this, right? They hadn't scored a set piece goal all year. And then they ended up winning that game 2-1. Both the goals came off set pieces. But that's all they've done. So I don't think y'all are in any danger of Atlanta catching you sleeping on a set piece unless they've been working on something for 3 weeks. Don't feel like you got too much to worry about there.
You never know. Miguel Berry might forget where he's playing
not
for
miss
and
his
might
marker.
accidentally knock one in the other direction.
Miguel Bear on goal. You say?
Yeah, Miguel Berry own goal. You never
And he
know.
celebrates it. Oh,
Man, what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, let me finish. I was saying earlier. I was talking about Ricky Puig, right? I think that's what I was talking about because you mentioned that he feels like the need to be the guy, right?
Yeah.
At the beginning of the season, he mentioned that he wanted to be an MLS MVP, and the thing with him is that yes, he is gifted. He has this really good skill, and here in LA land, we look at him, and we've had so many great players over the years. We see him as like, okay, you're very skilled, but let's. There's people that will say, let's look at where he can improve. And I've told people before, like, yeah, he's fantastic because you look at the highlight package and you see all those amazing passes where he threads the needle or where he gets the ball into the right spot at the right time. But the rest of the time, you're sitting there and you're watching him turn the ball over, give it up, and cough up the ball in the defensive third, make errant passes, or just get bodied off the ball, and then he doesn't come back on defense. It's things like those that kind of bug us. And for the longest time, one of the things that he felt he needed to do was come all the way back into the defensive third and try to carry the ball back up the field. And it's like, no, you don't have to do
Talk
that,
about
buddy.
Armada
But
or Pooch. Crazy,
there you go. See, so you know what I'm talking about. So finally, he got hurt, right? He got hurt and he was out for a while. And during that time, people were wondering, oh my God, El Galaxy's cooked. This is it. The season's going to fall off a cliff because Puig is gone. They started playing their best football in the entire season when he was out because they started using the tools that they had. This is when Gabriel Peck really took off. And this is when Joseph Paintsel started getting better as well because all of a sudden they're not depending on Puig to make that final pass. Instead, they're distributing the ball and they're being more dynamic. They're passing it around. And they're moving it around. They're scoring goals. All of a sudden, you see Peck cooking people on the corners and Paintsel using his speed to do stuff like that as well. And then Puig comes back and you're like, okay, what's going to happen? Well, they lost the game to LAFC, the 4th of July. But since then, the question was, can he integrate himself into this system? And there's been some hiccups along the way. But overall, you look at him, and he doesn't come back as much as he used to anymore. He's relying more on his teammates to do that, and he's just focusing on trying to move the ball from the middle of the field up into the final third and trying to get the passes. And yeah, he'll still get those nice little passes, but you don't see him holding onto the ball as much as he used to. He will still get the glut of touches, but at least he's distributing the ball around more. And his teammates know that. And that's something that's coming as a huge benefit to us.
So yes, he thinks we're gonna win the title.
Oh, am I gonna? I don't know. I don't. No. 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 Don't you put that on
That's
me?
what I heard.
No,
That's what I
do
heard
I think
too.
they're gonna win the title? I'll say what I keep saying. A lot of people are like, "Are we back? Are we back?" No, we're not back. LA Galaxy is not back. Not until they can defeat LAFC decisively. I don't think they're back. All along the way, I felt like there's been different tests, right? I feel like can they surpass this test? Okay, that's a good one. Can they do this? Yes, they've done that. Can they do this? Yes, they've done that. Can you beat these guys? No, they have not beat LAFC. And I think that the road to MLS Cup is gonna go through LA one way or another. And if they have any aspirations to at least get into that final game, they have to beat LAFC at some point. So yeah.
So what's your prediction for this game?
Oh God. Oh man, I like you guys.
Hey, you're
No,
not
you
gonna
can-
hurt
you
our
can- hey,
feelings.
Hey,
I think
we know
we
this
should
team's
have
been
a,
meh.
I think we should have like Tommy
10-0.
versus Edgar.
10-0, get him out.
Beard.
Get him out of here.
Like, what do you say? What do you say, Tommy? Put it on the line again, buddy.
No, I'm not betting my beard on that
Come
game.
on. I look. I haven't shaved in so long that I showed my 4-year-old son a picture of me the last time I shaved, and he said, "Who?" He asked, "Who is that?" And then
My daughter
wife's
cried,
"That's
and she's a
and my wife's like,
teenager.
"That's your dad," and he's like, "That's not my daddy."
Oh,
So
Oh, who that man is?
right.
yeah. So what do you say, Tommy? Let's do it, man. Put it on the
No.
line. Come on, guys. Sydney,
Tyler
Tyler.
should bit his.
What? What the heck I am? I'm not this game.
I'm the one who sacrifices the stuff on here. I'm not doing it on this one.
Look,
Going from
I'll-
Chicago to
I will bet
LA.
you- I'll bet you some good hash browns at Waffle House.
There you go.
We'll make that dream happen. I'll get you
All
the
right, and if you guys come
con
out
waffles.
here, man,
I'll get you the right hash browns. The whole 9 yards.
there we go. If you come out here, you got just a double animal style with fries well done,
Yeah.
and a chocolate shake.
Let's go.
Love it.
Perfect.
In and out, baby.
So
I'm gonna owe you a
predictions.
Waffle House at the end of this. So.
Yeah, the predictions.
Predictions. Let's.
Predictions.
What do we got?
Realistically, the LA Galaxy at home have made that a fortress. They haven't lost at Dignity Health Sports Park, and I see that Atlanta is struggling. This is one of those games that could be a trap game because
Oh, he was gonna say that.
yeah, the LA Galaxy is on the high. Atlanta not so much. Both teams have had time to rest. What way to try to get back on track for Atlanta to try to come to LA and spoil the party? Do I feel that Atlanta has the offensive power to kill us off? No, but it just feels like
You
one
were
of those
set it up
games.
to say yes.
No, but it just I'm feeling that trap game vibe from this. Score prediction, just to be safe, I'm gonna call it a 2-2. I know Atlanta has gone to Dignity Health Sports Park and beat us before, but for this one, because I don't want to see him lose, I'm just gonna say a 2-2.
Can I ask you a quick question? Because I don't know if you guys know the stat out here, and you see this a lot in the NFL, right? They always talk about like specifically West Coast teams traveling to the East Coast or East Coast going to the West Coast. Like you always see those stats with like the Chargers and the 49ers and all of that. Is there like a stat out there saying like these way East Coast teams traveling all the way to LA? And before you answer that, Tyler, Sydney, I don't know if you know this answer. Are they leaving earlier than normal? Like, are they leaving tomorrow? Are they leaving on Thursday for this game?
I believe so. They'll be training in LA on Friday.
Okay.
Let me tell
I
you,
assume
man,
most
as
teams probably
somebody-
do that.
as somebody who spent like 2 weeks in the South and like a really horrible muggy weather and had a hurricane fly over me, coming to LA, and it was it was hotter here when I got here. It was like 100 and something, and it felt cooler here than it did in North Carolina. Like I was driving with the windows down. I was like, that feels nice. So you guys coming over here, the Atlanta United, they're gonna feel like they're heading into nice fall weather
I can breathe.
because it's supposed to cool down over the weekend. Yesterday was 102 Fahrenheit over here, by the way, but it's supposed to cool down starting tomorrow, I think. But anyway,
Well, that's when they're
my
going to get there.
prediction.
They're leaving tomorrow afternoon
Oh
after
man, they're gonna
training.
hit the beach. They're gonna hit the
Hey
beach.
man, that's
Nice beach
what I would
weather.
do.
No.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I would do.
I'm really curious about Miranchuk. Am I pronouncing it correctly?
Yeah, you got it.
Miranchuk. I'm really curious to see if he will make his debut. Because I think that he is in a variable that has not been like determined yet, like what he's gonna offer. So you never know. Maybe he'll make his debut and explode on the LA Galaxy and say, "I'm here. I'm here to make a statement." And also, LA Galaxy was doing pretty good before the Leagues Cup came in. I mean, they had those two games against San Jose and against Guadalajara before they finally fell apart against Seattle. But I think at that point, they didn't really care. A lot of people will beg to differ with me, but I figured they did what they had to do in Leagues Cup. And then, like, oh, we got into the knockout rounds. All right, who cares? Let's just lose this game. We don't care. The point was to make sure everybody stayed healthy, which they did. As far as the guys that weren't hurt before the tournament. But yeah, I really hope that they're able to maintain that same run that they were on, because I think that's really important. Because when you're out for this long, you kind of get a little rust. But so has Atlanta, so it goes both ways. But I don't know. Like I said, don't expect Royce to be there.
Question.
Answer the question. I'm sorry. I just don't want to be mean.
Okay,
Okay.
We don't care about our feelings.
All right.
Care about our
Okay. How about
feelings.
this?
Just
How about
give
this?
it. Just don't say 4-0.
Right.
I was gonna say 3-1. How's that? 3-1. LA Galaxy.
Really?
Is that fair? Is that fair?
I mean, that's fair.
I think it's
Yeah.
I think Miranchuk, if he debuts, I think he's gonna score a goal at some point. So probably off a set piece.
More than
You never
likely.
know.
I'll take a free kick goal. That would be amazing at this point. Sydney, what you got?
Man, I'm not optimistic about this one at all. Granted, I mentioned it earlier when we had John on. This team tends to play up or down to the level of this competition, and of course, LA lead the West right now. So, they have a lot of formidable pieces in this attack, and I just don't know if Atlanta can overcome that. I don't think that they'll beat the Galaxy this coming Saturday. So I think it will be maybe a 2-0, 2-0 or 2-1. I'm going to go with 2-0 LA. 2-0 LA. I think LA United will, again, get this final stretch of matches off on the wrong foot. And I don't think they'll be able to win this one. So, yeah, 2-0 LA.
Okay. Tommy, what you got?
Okay. You're going last? Okay.
Oh, I mean, I don't care. I'll
No,
go.
3-1. I think 3-1 is the score line here. I think Atlanta gets one here. But any sport, when you're traveling east to west, you're usually struggling here. You looked at what Atlanta did, and hopefully this doesn't turn into an RSL game, the second half of the RSL game, because that was an emotional game, right? Like that was you're. I sat down for dinner at 7:00 or whatever time it was, and then about 20 seconds later, it said RSL scored.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden, Atlanta was like running the game after that, and then it just went all downhill. You hope it's not that, because it's the last part of the season, and you want to start off on a good foot. But this is just a hard task. This isn't Seattle. Last year, they came out of Leagues Cup with more new signings, and they were able to get one in on Seattle there. But I don't see it being this way. They lose by 2.
By the way, we're gonna have the same referee that did that game, the RSL game.
That's good.
Just so you know.
Oh, okay.
Great.
I'm gonna say 2-1. I just for basically all the same reasons. It'll be the Galaxy going up, probably a goal at the end of the first half, a goal probably middle of the second half, and then Atlanta will find a way to get one back and give everybody just a little bit of hope before the final whistle diminishes all hope. So I think it'll be 2-1. And I just it's LA Galaxy is a good team, objectively very good team, and Atlanta just hasn't been able to play really sustainably to that level. I know we always talk about how Atlanta plays to the level of the competition. They had no business beating Miami. They had no business beating Columbus. Maybe you get lucky, but it's a tall order. It's a tall order. So I got to ask y'all another quick question, though, because it fascinates me as as one of those things that I think MLS kind of always needs or has been looking for that one event, right? That like kind of can compete with football, with baseball, with basketball. And y'all have El Trafico now on July 4th for the past couple of seasons. From an outsider perspective, I freaking love that tradition. But what do y'all being there in the city like? What do y'all think about that kind of?
Oh my
It's not a
God.
tradition. It's only 2 years, but I think it could be.
You open
Nope,
up a can of
nope.
worms.
Didn't mean to
wait,
do that.
There you go. Hey, you open.
We'll get there.
Come
We'll
on.
get there. Sorry, I didn't know
Okay,
it was going
okay.
to happen. Sorry.
Okay.
All right. Well,
I'm new at touching buttons. Sorry.
Yeah.
Just
all
shut
right.
off
Well,
the podcast this time.
I'll tell you what I feel, because a lot of people echoed the same sentiment after this edition from this year, and I don't think it had anything to do with the Galaxy losing the game. It's just this is the reality. The Rose Bowl is a terrible place to go and watch a game. I remember like way back in '96 when I started going to those games, getting in and out of there. Oh my God, it's terrible. You have to wait like an hour because there's only 3 ways in, and the Rose Bowl is like in this kind of like in a trough located alongside of a creek, and you have to kind of go down into this area, and it's really hard to get in, and getting out is even worse. And so that's one thing. Also, parking is really difficult. When you go into the stadium itself, if you sit too close to the field, you really can't see very well because it's really flat. And if you sit too far back, you might as well be watching on TV because it's so far back. You got to find that sweet spot somewhere in the middle. And then the seats aren't that comfortable, and there's no cover. I mean, I could go on and on and on and on and on about it. But uh, when they did play that first edition last year, it was fantastic. There was a great attendance. Both teams came in, they put in a good performance. Galaxy ended up with the win with two bangers, right, from Tyler Boyd and Ricky Puig. And it was like a big celebration. I felt like the LA Galaxy celebrated going back to their ancestral home, and it was a good homecoming for them. And then you hear like, oh, they're gonna do it every year. You're like, okay, fine. Well, let's see how it goes again this year. And people went in there and they try to make the best of it because it's the 4th of July, Independence Day, fireworks, and all that good stuff. And LAFC ended up winning that game. So it kind of left a sour note in people's Galaxy, fans' minds. But in the end, you could talk to people from both LAFC and Galaxy. They'll say the same thing about just going there sucks. It's just not. It's not fun to be there the entire day, and you have to devote the entire day to being there from like early on, and then until like whatever time you come home. I know some people were saying, I left as the game was ending. I did not get home until midnight. So yeah, it's pretty bad. And so like a lot of people were now saying, hey, instead of having this game every year, why not have it like every 5 years? Why not have it like, once in a while? Because otherwise it loses its luster. And some LAFC fans were even saying, I'd rather this game be played in a more intimate environment where you can condense all that noise and all that emotion into like one very small area. Whether it's BMO or whether it's Dignity Health Sports Park. Some people were saying, why not have it at SoFi? Well, that's something different, right? But I don't know, Brian, what do you have to say?
Well, just to add on though, if they do have it every year, I don't mind that. I just don't want to drive to the Rose Bowl every 4th of July, if I'm being honest. And that was the biggest issue with everybody. But like moving forward, this could be something that MLS could kind of attach their name to it, because in the NFL, every Thanksgiving, the Cowboys play. This could be that. This could be our Cowboys on Thanksgiving. So, especially when it's two teams from the same market who have been fighting for the city's souls and all that, right? It could be a great showing, and I don't mind it. It's just make that be one game, because it seems like we're playing them like 10 times a season, and that's what's annoying about it too. And I don't want to see them every week, like just once or twice a season, and I'm fine with that.
Yeah, because y'all got them again in like 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Where
did a
did-
match preview with an LAFC pod before that game, and it's something that he brought up as well. He said, it was always great when we played you guys twice or maybe 3 times a year, because if it's something you really look forward to. But now if we play you guys so much, it kind of dilutes the whole thing. It's like, oh, these guys again. Oh God, we gotta get emotionally invested again. And whether they win or lose, at the end you feel worn out, and oh no, here we go again, the same guys again. But I kind of agree with him. I like it better when it was like 3 at the most, because sometimes you run into them in the Open Cup or the playoffs. But twice a year it would be great for me. As far as the Rose Bowl game, sorry, my dog. Those LAFC fans, they don't like what I'm saying.
Oh man,
No.
they're trying to knock you out, dude.
Yeah, I'd rather have the game happen once in a while. But maybe Brian has a point as far as it being that one game in the season, right, where it's something that a lot of MLS fans can look forward to, because it is entertaining to you guys, right? You guys find it
I enjoy it.
entertaining?
It's one of my favorites.
Yeah.
But I understand not the actual fan aspect of it. Like going to a great stadium that has no good way in or out is a miserable experience. It doesn't matter what the stadium is. I've been there before, not to the Rose Bowl, but I've been in those situations where it's just like, dude, the stadium's cool, man, but getting here is a freaking adventure.
Yeah.
And I hate that.
Where do you guys live, real quick? Where do you guys live in relation to Pasadena?
I'm about like a 45-minute drive.
Yeah.
And then with traffic,
Yeah.
well, it was the last time, it was like a 2.5-hour wait in
Not
traffic.
believe it.
So we just kind of kicked it in the parking lot until the traffic cleared out. And that was
Yeah.
like a 3-hour wait, but I mean, we had drinks going still. So
Hey, that's what you got to do.
yeah, that's
Right.
what we got to
Well,
do.
I used to live in Pasadena. My wife and I got
Yeah.
married in 2012, and we lived there for 4 years.
Yeah.
And I remember Galaxy didn't play any games. Well, yeah, they played a couple games when I was there. It was an exhibition match against Manchester United, and there was one against Barca, I think.
Yep.
But I remember, like, instead of taking any transportation there, I just walked there, and it was like a 20-minute walk for me. Now, where I live now, I live kind of like in the outskirts of LA County in this area called Phillips Ranch. And from here to Pasadena, when there's like when the traffic is okay, it's about 25 minutes. So it's
Yeah.
not too bad. But as far as going to Galaxy games for now, for the Dignity Health Sports Park, it takes me about 45 minutes to an hour to get there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tommy,
All right.
what you got, buddy?
Well, I got this video. I figured we'd finish with this.
Yes.
It's a Miguel Berry video. I did not know this was being made, but my YouTube picture, my little profile pictures of Miguel Berry. My kids ask who it is all the time, and my buddy made this video of Miguel Berry. And I figured we'd end with this. I wasn't planning on sharing this, but you brought Miguel Berry up. Didn't even. We'll see if I can get this to work or not. I mean, this episode's already been crazy already. So let's.
Bookend it with some wrestling, right?
Hit it.
Yeah, let's see if this will share here, and then we'll go from there.
I mean, if it doesn't work, you're gonna have to dance for us, right?
He's gonna have to
So-
reenact
Right.
it.
Yeah.
You can go with the backup
Hold
plan here.
I don't know. I get nervous.
Why?
I don't know. That's just literally what I do. I'm always nervous.
Just don't hit the red button at the bottom.
Right.
Top right.
It's this end
No,
stream.
'cause-
Don't hit it.
It's giving me like directions here. So hold on. That's why I tried to send it to you, Tyler, during this to see what was
oh.
going on. But
Well, my bad.
here we go. I think this is gonna work.
Oh,
Maybe.
Do we see it?
Perhaps.
yes.
Yes.
Oh my
Miguel
God.
Berry.
Let's
Now we'll
Yes.
see. Now we will see if the sound comes through. And this is all right. We'll just see it.
Say his name
Yeah.
and he appears. I believe Miguel Berry. I believe Miguel Berry. Cause they love Columbus, DC and San Diego, Seattle Sounders, Atlanta, Tommy in Ohio. They say, I believe Miguel Berry. I believe in Miguel Berry.
This is so ridiculous.
Wave your hand from side to side. I believe Miguel Berry. Miguel Berry. Tommy's favorite. Wave your hands from side to side and say, I believe in Miguel Berry. Miguel Berry. Tommy's favorite.
Oh my god, that delivered. Thank you.
Fantastic.
That was amazing.
Fantastic.
How the hell are we gonna top this for tomorrow's show?
I don't know. I could play it. I could bring it. To that. Or if you choose no, I understand.
The third time in this show that we have to drop the. If this is your first time tuning into Scarf
We're
and
sorry.
Spikes,
We're sorry.
just you
Yes.
never know what you're getting.
Come back next week. Promise.
Please come back next week. We promise.
Yeah.
We'll be better. Well, guys, thank you so much for hopping on. What do you guys want to plug?
You can follow us at News Across the Galaxy on all social medias. Follow us on YouTube as News Across the Galaxy. We usually go on live on Sundays, 9 p.m. Pacific. That'd be like what, midnight?
Midnight Eastern
East?
time.
Midnight, yeah.
Hey, some people like staying up late, so
Hey, I watched those
I'm
Hot
a
Ones
Ducks
episode
hockey
when
fan.
they
I'm
did
always
that.
up late.
That was
there
fun.
it is. And you can follow me on Bryant Nags on all social media. Edgar.
Yeah, you guys can follow me on Instagram and Twitter as Edgar Nags. On Instagram, I do a post-game interviews, or sometimes I do like little features on people. So, yeah, that's where you can find me. Thank you guys so much for having us on, by the way.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
It was
Thanks
a
for coming
lot
on.
of fun.
Absolutely.
I was really looking forward to this on the calendar.
Yeah,
you was actually.
y'all. Like I told John earlier, y'all are always welcome, man. We
Yeah.
love you guys.
Come back anytime.
We need to do a Hot Ones episode like y'all did. I would jump on that in a heartbeat.
I am in. And MLS podcast Hot Ones.
Let's
Damn,
I'm down.
That'd be
Let's
awesome.
go.
Hit us up.
I did it once, and I wasn't allowed to sleep in the bed for that night because I was just farting all night. It was terrible.
All right. We
It was
got
the worst night ever.
Ruined.
So hey, we're already go. So everybody, if you're on our Patreon, we started this last week. We're doing like an after show, so there's a link out there in our Discord, all that. Come join that. It can't be any worse than what what I've thrown out here and what this entire whole thing was. You guys were great. Everything else was just something.
off
So
the rails.
yeah, join us after this. I'm gonna go find more alcohol before we start that. But we
I like
appreciate
how at the
everyone
beginning
here.
of this episode, you were like, "It's Dry Wednesday," and by the end of it,
It
you're
was
like,
Dry Wednesday. I
"I'm gonna
texted
go
my
get another
wife.
drink."
I texted her and said, "Please bring down alcohol," and
Cheers.
she brought it
Wait.
down.
Here, cheers. with
Well,
my- with my
It's gonna be a
podcast
rated R
cup.
episode for the after show. Hell yeah.
No, I started the real quick. We did that, and I said, "Okay, this is like Disney or whatever, like PG-13. You get to say the F word one time." I said it 3, so it turned into an NC-17
he screwed us.
podcast.
Let's go.
I had a shirt on. Okay. All right, we're ending this. Hit the music, City, please. Just for God, please hit the music.
Get us out of here,
Right, Edgar, we appreciate y'all.
guys.
Oh,
Yeah,
man,
thank you guys.
Appreciate you
It was
coming
fun.
on.
Hey, tomorrow, just keep a lookout for Cholo Dayon. He might show up. You never know.
Yeah. And also, we do want to do the same thing with the video.
Yes.
That way we could show Galaxy fans, and maybe somebody comes up with something cool.
We'll have it
remix or
ready.
something. Yeah,
Put it
yeah.
out on the internet, and I can
Waffle
only
House,
imagine
baby.
what's going to happen.
Yep.
What could go
I'm
wrong?
looking forward to those Waffle House.
Hey,
Thanks,
scattered,
guys.
smothered,
Covered.
covered.
Mother drowned.
Yep.
All right.
And
So,
then start running
Quit
and
making it
mixing
sound
with
so
the
dirty.
Alrighty, then, boys. I'm gonna have to log off, but it was a pleasure with you guys.
See you
Hopefully,
guys.
hopefully tomorrow will be as fun.
we'll see.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah. All right, y'all. Have a good one. Peace.
See ya.
See ya.